I woke up on my 25th birthday to the sound of my mother screaming my name, and not "Happy birthday, sweetheart," not "We love you, honey." Just my full name, Wang Xiaoli, shrieked like a curse through the thin walls of my childhood bedroom. The same bedroom I thought I'd escaped 6 years ago. The same bedroom where I died alone at 37, drowning in debt that wasn't even mine. Except I didn't stay dead. My hands were smooth. No calluses from the factory work I'd done for minimum wage. No scars from the accident that had crushed 3 fingers on my right hand when I was 32. I sat up and the morning light hit a calendar on my wall, one I'd thrown away years ago. March 15th, 2013. Said it. 12 years before my death, 12 years before everything fell apart, my door slammed open. Mother stood there in her faded floral pajamas, her face already twisted in that expression I knew too well, the one that meant I was about to become useful. Behind her, my older sister, Lynn, stood with her arms crossed, perfectly made up even at 7 in the morning. She'd always been the beautiful one, the favored one. "Finally," Mother snapped. "Your sister needs you. Get dressed." I knew this day, God, I knew this day down to my bones. This was the day that ruined my life the first time around. "What's going on?" I asked, even though I already knew. My voice came out younger, smoother, without the rasp I'd developed from years of begging creditors for mercy. "Lynn needs you to come to the bank," Mother said, as if this explained everything, as if I should be grateful. "It's important." Lynn stepped forward and I saw it, that flash of calculation in her eyes. She'd perfected it over the years, that look that said she was about to take something from me and I should thank her for the privilege. "I'm buying the apartment," Lynn announced, like she was doing me a favor by sharing the news. "The one downtown, 3 bedrooms. You know the building? The one with the marble lobby?" I knew it. In my previous life, that apartment had been a noose around my neck. "Congratulations," I said flatly. Lynn's smile faltered for a microsecond. She wasn't used to flat responses from me. The old Xiao Li would have gushed, would have asked excited questions, would have offered to help however she could. "The bank needs a guarantor," Mother jumped in. "Just a formality. You know how these things are. They want someone else's name on the paperwork. You'll come with us and sign a few documents." "No." The word hung in the air like a gunshot. Mother's mouth fell open. Lynn actually took a step back. "What did you say?" Mother's voice dropped to that dangerous whisper that used to make me cave immediately. I said no. I stood up, and I was surprised by how steady my legs felt. In my previous life, I'd been shaking by this point. Shaking and already making excuses. Already trying to explain why I couldn't, already apologizing for disappointing them. "I'm not being a guarantor on anyone's loan." "It's not a guarantor," Lynn said quickly, her voice syrupy sweet. "It's just a co-applicant. The bank needs to see that the family has financial stability. I make good money, but they want to see multiple income sources. You have a job now, right? At that accounting firm?" I did have a job. It was my first week as a junior accountant at Wang and Associates. Starting salary of 3,500 Wen a month. Pitiful, but it was a foot in the door. In my previous life, I'd been so proud of that job, so grateful for the opportunity. "That's exactly why I won't sign," I said. "I just started. I'm not risking my financial future on someone else's property." Mother's face turned purple. "Risk? She's your sister. This is family." "Then the family should understand why I'm saying no." Lynn's mask cracked. The sweet smile vanished, replaced by cold fury. "You selfish little bitch. After everything we've done for you." There it was. The script I'd heard 1,000 times in my previous life. The guilt trip that had worked so perfectly every single time. "What have you done for me?" I asked quietly. The question clearly shocked them. Mother actually sputtered. "We raised you," she finally shouted. "We fed you, clothed you, sent you to school." "You did the legal minimum required of parents," I interrupted, "and you've reminded me of it every single day of my life. You want gratitude? Fine. Thank you for not abandoning me on a street corner. Now get out of my room." "Zhao Li," Lynn started. "No." I walked to the door and held it open. "I know what you're really asking. You want me to commit fraud. Co-applicant doesn't mean just putting my name down. It means I'm equally responsible for that loan. If you default, they come after me. My wages get garnished. My credit gets destroyed. I end up in court. I'm not going to default, Lynn hissed. I have a good job. I can afford this apartment. Then you don't need me, do you? She grabbed my arm hard enough to bruise. Listen to me very carefully, you ungrateful little worm. I am buying this apartment because I'm getting married. Zhao Wei's family requires that we own property before the wedding. This is my future, my life, and you're going to help me or I will make you regret it. Zhao Wei, I remembered him now, Lin's fiancé, a middle manager at some tech company. In my previous life, they'd gotten married 6 months after Lin bought the apartment. The wedding had been lavish, expensive. I hadn't been invited to the bachelor party or any of the pre-wedding celebrations. I'd been too busy working 3 jobs to pay off Lin's defaulted loan. Because that's what had happened. Lin had lost her job 8 months after buying the apartment. Something about a scandal at her company, embezzlement charges against her boss. She'd claimed she'd find new work quickly, that it was just a temporary setback. But months turned into a year, and the bank had started sending letters. First to her, then to me. By the time I was 27, I was working as a waitress, a factory worker, and a weekend cleaner to make the minimum payments on a loan for an apartment I'd never even lived in. Lin had sold the apartment eventually, at a loss during a market downturn, and kept every yuan of the proceeds. Told me it was only fair since she'd let me live with the family rent-free while I worked myself to death. She'd moved into a bigger place with Zhao Wei. I'd moved into a dormitory with 7 other factory workers. I know about the embezzlement investigation, I said quietly. Lin went very, very still. What? At your company. Your boss, Director Chen. He's been cooking the books for 2 years. The authorities are going to raid the office in 3 months. Everyone in senior management is going to be implicated. You're going to lose your job. The color drained from Lin's face. How do you... That's not... Who told you that? I hadn't known in my previous life. I'd found out years later when Lin had mentioned it in passing during one of her rants about how hard her life had been, how unfair it was that she'd lost her job through no fault of her own. Does it matter? I pulled my arm free from her grip. You can't afford this apartment. You're going to default, and you want to drag me down with you. That's a lie, Mother said, but her voice wavered. Lin has a good position. She's doing well. She's a secretary in a department that is under criminal investigation, I said. Check if you don't believe me. Call her office right now. Ask to speak to Director Chen. See if he's even there today. He wouldn't be. I remembered now. Director Chen had stopped coming to the office in mid-March, right before the scandal broke. He'd fled to Singapore with his mistress and about 40 million yuan in company funds. Lin's face confirmed it. She knew. She'd known her boss was dirty, had probably suspected the whole thing was about to collapse. That's why she was desperate to buy the apartment now, before she lost her job and her loan application would be rejected, and she'd planned to stick me with the bill. You think you're so smart, Lin said, her voice shaking with rage. You think you can just say no? You live in this house. You eat our food. Everything you have, we gave you. I pay rent, I said. 300 yuan a month plus splitting utilities. I've been paying since I turned 18. Want me to show you the bank transfer records? Mother actually flinched. She'd always told Lin that I lived at home for free, that I was a burden on the family. Lin had believed it, had resented me for it. Get out, Mother said. If you won't help your sister, then get out of this house. I'd been waiting for that. Fine. I'll have my things moved out by tonight. Tonight? Mother looked shocked. You can't just leave. You have nowhere to go. I have 6,000 yuan saved, I said. Actually, I had 8,000, but I wasn't going to tell them that. I can rent a room somewhere. I'll be fine. I actually didn't have anywhere lined up, but I'd figure it out. I'd survived worse. I'd survived dying. Lin grabbed the door frame as I tried to close it. You're making a huge mistake. You think you can just abandon your family? We'll make sure everyone knows what kind of person you are. Selfish, ungrateful, cold-hearted. Go ahead, I said. Tell everyone, put it on social media. I'm sure people will be very sympathetic when they hear you're upset that I wouldn't commit fraud for you. It's not fraud. It is. I looked her dead in the eye. And when the bank comes after you, which they will, Don't expect me to bail you out. Don't call me. Don't text me. Don't show up at my work. I'm done. I closed the door in their faces and locked it. The shouting started immediately. Mother alternating between threats and guilt trips. Lynn crying. Fake tears. The kind she'd perfected in middle school to get out of trouble. My father's voice joined in, gruff and demanding, asking what the commotion was about. I ignored all of it and started packing. I didn't have much. 12 years of living in this house, and I'd accumulated maybe 3 boxes worth of possessions. The old Xiao Li had learned not to get attached to things. Lin had a habit of borrowing anything nice and never returning it. Mother had a habit of throwing away anything she deemed unnecessary. My phone buzzed. A text from my older brother, Yang. What did you do? Mom is furious, and I typed back, refused to commit fraud. How's the restaurant? Yang had opened a restaurant the year before with his wife. It had failed within 8 months. In my previous life, he'd hit me up for a loan right around the time I was drowning in Lin's debt. I'd given him 12,000 yuan, my entire savings. He'd never paid me back, had acted offended when I asked about it. His response came quickly. Don't be dramatic, just sign the papers. It's family. No, you're being childish. I blocked his number. My phone buzzed again almost immediately. Lin from her number. You'll regret this. I blocked her too. Then mother. Then father. Then Yang from his wife's phone. I blocked them all and finished packing. By noon, I'd moved everything I owned into a youth hostel 3 subway stops away. It cost 20 yuan a night for a bunk bed in a room with 5 other people. Not ideal, but it would work while I found something permanent. I sat on the thin mattress and let myself breathe for the first time in hours, and I was free. The feeling was intoxicating. In my previous life, I'd stayed trapped in that house for another 3 years, signing whatever they put in front of me, draining my savings for every family emergency, working myself sick to keep everyone else afloat. I'd thought that was what family meant. Sacrifice, duty, love. It had never been love. My phone buzzed again. Unknown number. Against my better judgment, I answered. Xiao Li? It was Lin's voice, saccharine sweet. Please don't hang up. I just want to talk. What? I'm sorry, she said, and she almost sounded sincere. I'm sorry for getting angry. You were right. I shouldn't have pressured you. It's just, I'm stressed about the wedding, and I took it out on you. Can we meet for coffee, just the 2 of us? I want to apologize properly. Every instinct I had screamed that this was a trap. No, I said. Please, I'm your sister. I know we've had our problems, but I don't want to lose you over this. Family is important. Family is important, I repeated. That's why you threatened me this morning? I was upset. I said things I didn't mean. A pause. Look, I'm not even asking you to sign anything anymore. I found another solution. Zhao Wei's cousin is going to be the co-applicant. I miss you. Can we please talk? I hung up. 2 minutes later, Zhao Wei called from his number. I didn't answer. Then a cousin I barely knew, an aunt, Lin's best friend. They were orchestrating a campaign trying to find the right angle to manipulate me. It was almost funny how transparent it was now that I knew what to look for. I turned off my phone and went to the hostel's common area. A few other guests were there, mostly travelers, a couple of students, normal people living normal lives. I bought a cup of instant noodles from the vending machine and ate it slowly, savoring the quiet. That night, I lay in my bunk and stared at the ceiling. The girl in the bed below me was snoring softly. Someone in the hallway was talking on the phone in English. Traffic noise filtered in from the street. It should have felt lonely, sad. And instead, I felt lighter than I had in decades. The next 2 weeks passed in a blur of apartment hunting and dodging my family's increasingly desperate attempts to contact me. I'd turn on my phone once a day to check messages from my boss, and each time I'd find dozens of texts and missed calls from various family members. The messages escalated from sweet to angry to pitiful. We love you. Please come home. How can you do this to your own mother? Lin is crying every night because of you. You're breaking this family apart. Fine, be selfish. See if we care. Your father had chest pains today. If something happens to him, it's your fault. That last one almost got me. Almost. But then I remembered sitting in the hospital in my previous life after father had his actual heart attack when I was 31. I'd paid for the surgery, maxed out 2 credit cards to cover what insurance didn't. Lin had visited once and brought fruit. Yong had been too busy with his failing restaurant. Mother had cried and said what a blessing it was to have such a devoted daughter. 6 months later, they'd asked me to take out another loan for Lin's daughter's education fund. I'd said yes then, not this time. I found an apartment on March 28th, a tiny studio in an older building 40 minutes from work by subway. It was smaller than my childhood bedroom, with a bathroom the size of a closet, and a kitchen that was really just a hot plate in the corner. The walls were thin enough that I could hear my neighbor's TV through them. It was perfect. The landlady was a stern woman in her 60s who asked for first month's rent plus a deposit. No games, no family drama, just a straightforward transaction. I paid her in cash and got the keys. That night, I slept on an air mattress in my empty apartment and felt like royalty. Work was going well. Wang and Associates was a small firm, only 12 employees. But the senior partners were fair and the work was interesting. I was learning quickly, proving myself useful. My supervisor, Manager Fang, had already praised my attention to detail twice. In my previous life, I'd quit this job after 6 months. Lin had needed help with her daughter, and someone had to watch the baby while Lin looked for work. That someone had been me. By the time I'd tried to go back to accounting, I'd lost my edge. Ended up in data entry instead, for less money and no prospects. Not this time. On April 3rd, I was eating lunch in the office break room when my phone rang. I'd started keeping it on again, but I'd changed my number. Only my boss and a few colleagues had it. This call came from the office line. Accounting, this is Yao Li. Miss Wang? The receptionist sounded nervous. There's someone here to see you. Your sister? My stomach dropped. Tell her I'm not available. She says it's an emergency. Something about your mother being in the hospital? Of course, the hospital play. Classic. My mother is fine, I said. Please ask my sister to leave. She's very insistent. Then call security. I'm working. I hung up and tried to focus on the spreadsheet in front of me, but my hands were shaking. It took 15 minutes before my phone rang again. She's gone, the receptionist said. But she left a message. She said to tell you that you'll regret this. Thank you for handling that, I said, keeping my voice steady. I knew this wasn't over. Lin had never been good at accepting no. That evening, I came home to find someone had slipped an envelope under my apartment door. No name, no return address. Inside was a letter written in Lin's handwriting. Xiao Li, I don't understand what I did to make you hate me so much. We're sisters. We're supposed to support each other. I know you think I was trying to use you, but that's not true. I was scared. I am scared. You're right about the investigation at work. Director Chen disappeared last week, and the police came to question everyone. I might lose my job, and I'm trying to do the right thing. Zhao Wei and I want to start our life together, and his family has traditional expectations. We need to own property before we can marry. I've been saving for years, but it's not enough for the full down payment. The bank will only approve the loan if I have a co-applicant. I know I came at you wrong. I was desperate and I lashed out. I'm sorry, but please understand, this apartment is my future. If I lose Zhao Wei because I can't meet his family's requirements, I'll have nothing. You have your whole life ahead of you. You're young and smart, and you have a good job. I'm 29 years old, and this might be my last chance at happiness. Please reconsider. I'm not asking you to pay anything. I'm not asking you for money. Just your signature, that's all. And when Zhao Wei and I are settled, when we have children, you'll be their auntie. We'll be a real family again. Please, I'm begging you. Lin. I read it twice, then burned it over my kitchen sink. The old Xiao Li would have cried, would have felt guilty, would have thought maybe she was being too harsh, too cold, too selfish. But I'd lived through the end of this story. I knew Lin lost her job in June, knew she defaulted on the loan in September, knew she sold the apartment at a loss in November and kept every yuan, knew she blamed me for not helping enough when I was drowning in debt trying to cover her payments, knew that she and Zhao Wei had 3 children, all of whom I met exactly twice in my entire life, because I wasn't good enough to be around them. I flushed the ashes and went to bed. Lynn bought the apartment anyway, and I found out through a distant cousin who posted about it on social media. Photos of Lynn and Zhao Wei signing papers at the bank, all smiles. Congratulations from dozens of people. My mother commented, "So proud of our successful daughter." I felt nothing. A week later, my bank called. "Miss Wang Xiaoli?" The woman's voice was professional, crisp. "This is Chen Hui from Industrial and Commercial Bank. I'm calling about a loan application we received." My blood ran cold. "What application?" "A property loan under your name for an apartment at Jianhe District, Tower A, Unit 1502. The application was submitted on April 4th and approved on April 8th. The loan disbursement is scheduled for April 20th. "I didn't apply for any loan," I said slowly. Silence, then, "I see. Miss Wang, are you saying this application is fraudulent?" "Yes, I never applied for a loan. I never signed anything. I don't know anything about this." "That's very serious. Miss Wang, I'll need you to come to the branch immediately. We need to file a report and review the documentation." "What documentation?" "The application was submitted with your identification card, your employment verification from Wang and Associates, and your signature on the co-applicant agreement. If you're saying you didn't authorize this, I didn't." My mind was racing. Someone forged my signature. "Miss Wang, identity fraud is a criminal matter. You'll need to file a police report as well. Can you come to the bank today?" I left work early, my supervisor's concerned questions ringing in my ears. The bank was only 3 blocks away. I ran. Chen Hui was a woman in her 40s with sharp eyes and a no-nonsense expression. She had my file spread across her desk when I arrived, pages and pages of documents that I'd supposedly signed. "This is your identification card number," she said, pointing. "Your work address, your phone number." Someone stole my information. "The signature?" She showed me a page. It was my signature, or close enough that I could see how they'd done it. My mother had kept my household registration documents. She had samples of my signature from a dozen forms I'd signed over the years. Lynn was good at art, had steady hands. She'd traced it. "That's not mine," I said. I mean, someone copied it, forged it." "Do you know who?" I hesitated. This was the moment. I could protect my family, claim it was a stranger, say I had no idea. Or I could tell the truth. "My sister," I said. "Wang Lin. She's the primary applicant on this loan. She wanted me to be the co-applicant, and I refused. She must have forged my signature." Chen Hui's expression didn't change, but something flickered in her eyes. "That's a very serious accusation." "It's the truth. She asked me to sign on March 15th. I said no. She's been harassing me ever since, trying to get me to change my mind. When I wouldn't, she must have decided to forge the documents." "Why would she do that?" "Because the bank wouldn't approve her loan without a co-applicant. And she's about to lose her job, so this might be her last chance to get approved. She's desperate." Chen Hui made a note. "Miss Wang, I need to be very clear with you. If you're making a false accusation against a family member..." "I'm not. Check the dates. Check when I started refusing her calls. I can show you the blocked numbers on my phone. I can show you that I moved out of my family home on March 15th, the same day she asked me to sign. I have witnesses from my hostel, from my new apartment building. Check the surveillance cameras at my office. She showed up there trying to talk to me. Your own receptionist can confirm I refused to see her." Chen Hui studied me for a long moment. "Wait here." She left with the file. I sat in the small office and tried not to shake. 20 minutes later, she returned with a man in a suit, the branch manager, according to his name tag. "Miss Wang," he said gravely, "we've reviewed the situation. The application was indeed submitted with your information, and we've confirmed that the identification documents appear to be photocopies, not originals. The signature analysis is inconclusive. It could be yours or a very good forgery." "It's a forgery." "We believe you. However, this puts us in a difficult position. The loan was approved in good faith. If we proceed with disbursement and you're not actually a co-applicant, the bank is taking on significantly more risk." "That's not my problem," I said. "I'm the victim of fraud here. Of course, we'll need you to file a formal complaint, both with us and with the police. And we'll need to inform the primary applicant that there's an issue with the documentation." "My sister." "Yes." He looked uncomfortable. Miss Wang, this is going to cause problems for your family. My sister committed fraud. That's her problem, not mine. He blinked, clearly not expecting such a cold response. Very well, we'll need you to sign some statements. And we'll need to freeze the loan disbursement until this is resolved. Good. I spent 2 hours at the bank, signing statements, answering questions, providing evidence. By the time I left, it was after 6 p.m. I walked straight to the police station and filed a criminal complaint for identity fraud and forgery. The officer taking my statement looked skeptical when I told him it was my sister. You understand this is a serious accusation? He said, if we investigate and find you were complicit. I wasn't. She forged my signature without my knowledge or consent. That's a crime. Even if it's family? Especially because it's family. She knew I would never agree, so she did it anyway. She violated my trust and my rights. I want to press charges. He made me repeat it 3 times as if expecting me to change my mind. I didn't. By the time I got home, it was dark. I was exhausted, wrung out, but also strangely exhilarated. In my previous life, I'd never fought back, never stood up for myself. I'd let them run over me again and again, always thinking that eventually they'd appreciate me, that eventually they'd love me the way I loved them. They never had. My phone started ringing at 7 p.m. Mother, from a new number I hadn't blocked yet. I answered. How could you? She screamed. The words were barely coherent through her crying. How could you do this to your own sister, to your own family? I didn't do anything, I said calmly. Lynn forged my signature. She committed fraud. She was trying to buy a home. She was trying to build a life. And you went to the police, your own sister? She committed a crime. It's not a crime. It's family. You were supposed to help her. By letting her steal my identity, by taking legal responsibility for a loan she can't afford? She can afford it. She has a good job. She's about to lose her job. The investigation at her company is going to blow up in a few weeks. She knew that. That's why she was so desperate to get the loan approved now. Silence. Then, you're lying. Call her office, ask where Director Chen is. More silence. Then Mother's voice again, smaller. Even if that's true, you should have helped her. That's what family does. We support each other. You support Lynn, I corrected. You support Yang. You've never supported me. That's not true. We raised you. You keep saying that like it's some special favor. You had a child. You did the bare minimum required by law. Congratulations. I was surprised by how calm I sounded, how steady. You want to know the truth, Mother? You've never treated me like family. I'm just the backup plan. The one you keep around to use when you need something. Money, babysitting, a scapegoat, a cosigner. That's all I've ever been to you. How can you say that? I'm your mother. Then act like it. Act like you care about me as a person, not just as a tool. Act like my life matters as much as Lynn's or Yang's. Your life does matter, but you can't just think about yourself. Lynn needs... I don't care what Lynn needs. The words came out flat, final. She forged my signature. She committed fraud. Whatever happens now is her own fault. She's going to lose everything. The bank called her today. They're canceling the loan. Zhao Wei's family is furious. They might call off the wedding. Good. Mother made a sound like I'd slapped her. You don't mean that. I do. Lynn tried to destroy my financial future to secure her own. She deserves to face the consequences. Please, Mother begged. Please, Xiaoli. Just drop the police report. Tell the bank it was a misunderstanding. We can fix this. Lynn will apologize. We'll all apologize. Just please don't do this. No. I'm begging you. You're begging me to let my sister get away with committing fraud against me. Do you hear yourself? She's family. So am I. I hung up. The phone rang again immediately. I turned it off. The next morning, I arrived at work to find Lynn waiting in the lobby. She looked terrible. Her makeup was smudged, her hair unwashed, her clothes wrinkled. She stood up when she saw me, and I saw the desperation in her eyes. Xiaoli, please? No. I walked past her toward the elevator. She grabbed my arm. Just listen to me for 1 minute. 1 minute, please. Security was already moving toward us. I raised a hand to stop them and turned to face my sister. 30 seconds, I said. I made a mistake. The words tumbled out fast, frantic. I know I did. I was wrong. I was desperate and scared, and I wasn't thinking clearly, but please, you have to drop the charges. The bank canceled my loan. Zhao Wei's family is threatening to call off the wedding. His mother said I'm a liar and a fraud, and I'm not good enough for her son. Please, I'll do anything. I'll apologize publicly. I'll pay you back for everything. You don't have any money to pay me back, I said. You lost your job yesterday. Her face crumpled. How did you? I told you this would happen. I warned you on March 15th that the investigation was coming. You didn't listen. I didn't have a choice. I need this apartment. Zhao Wei won't marry me without it. Then Zhao Wei doesn't love you. She stared at me like I'd spoken a foreign language. What? If he only wants you because of an apartment, then he doesn't actually love you. He loves what you can provide. That's not how it works. His family has standards, requirements. This is about respect. It's about control, I interrupted. And you were willing to commit fraud and destroy my life to meet someone else's arbitrary requirements. That's pathetic, Lynn. You don't understand. You've never had anyone love you. You don't know what it's like to have something worth fighting for. The words should have hurt. Maybe they would have in my previous life, but now they just made me tired. I'm worth fighting for, I said quietly. My life is worth protecting. My future is worth more than your relationship with a man who doesn't love you enough to stand up to his mother. I'm done sacrificing myself for people who see me as disposable. Please. Tears were streaming down her face now, real ones for once. Please, Zhao Li, I'm your sister. We're blood. Doesn't that mean anything to you? It meant everything to me, I said. That's why this hurts so much. You were willing to betray me, lie to me, steal from me, and you thought I should be grateful for the privilege. You thought I'd just take it because we're family. But family shouldn't hurt like this. Family shouldn't feel like drowning. I'll make it right, I swear. Just drop the charges. No, you made your choice. Now live with it. I walked away. Lynn shouted after me, her voice echoing in the marble lobby. Security escorted her out. I rode the elevator up to my floor and sat at my desk and tried to stop my hands from shaking. Manager Fang appeared beside my desk 5 minutes later. Are you all right? Family problems, I said. The woman in the lobby? My sister, she won't be back. He studied me for a moment, then nodded. If you need time off, I don't, thank you. He left. I focused on my spreadsheets and tried not to think about the look on Lynn's face. The investigation took 3 weeks. The police interviewed everyone. Me, Lynn, my parents, bank employees, even Zhao Wei. They analyzed the forged signature, checked surveillance footage, reviewed phone records. The evidence was overwhelming. Lynn had used photocopies of my ID that she'd taken from my mother's files. She'd traced my signature from old documents. She'd submitted everything to the bank electronically, using my phone number and email address, which she'd gotten from our family group chat. It was textbook fraud. The bank pressed charges too. They didn't like being used as part of a fraud scheme. On May 5th, Lynn was arrested. Mother called me 23 times in 1 hour. I didn't answer. Finally, she showed up at my apartment building. The landlady called up to warn me, and I told her not to let anyone up. Mother shouted in the lobby for 15 minutes before the landlady threatened to call the police. She left. The next day, Father came instead. He waited outside my building after work, and when I tried to walk past him, he blocked my path. We need to talk, he said. He looked older than I remembered, grayer, thinner. In my previous life, he'd died when I was 34, heart attack sudden. I'd paid for the funeral. Lin and Yong had split the inheritance. I'd gotten nothing because I didn't need it as much. Talk then, I said. Not here, let's get dinner. I'm not hungry. Zhaoli, please, your sister is in jail. Your mother is having a breakdown. This family is falling apart. No, I said. It fell apart a long time ago. You're just noticing now because Lin is finally facing consequences. She made a mistake. She committed fraud. Multiple crimes, actually. Forgery, identity theft, falsifying bank documents. Those aren't mistakes. They're crimes. She's your sister, and I'm your daughter. The words exploded out of me. I'm your daughter, and you've never once, not once, asked me how I'm doing. Never asked if I'm okay. Never cared about my life or my future. You only care now because Lin is in trouble. And you think I can fix it? Father's face reddened. That's not true. We care about you. When? When have you ever cared about me? Give me one example. One time when you put my needs above Lynn's or Yong's. He opened his mouth, closed it, tried again. You were always more independent. You didn't need as much help. I needed a family. I needed parents who loved me. I needed to matter to someone. My voice cracked despite my best efforts. But I never did I? I was just the spare, the backup, the one you could use without guilt. We do love you. You love what I can do for you. That's not the same thing. You're being unreasonable. Lynn is in jail. She could go to prison. Her life is ruined. She ruined it herself. How can you be so cold, so heartless? I learned from the best, I said, and walked past him into my building. He didn't follow. Lynn's trial was in June. I didn't attend, but I followed the news through a coworker whose sister was a paralegal at the prosecutor's office. The evidence was damning. Lynn pleaded guilty to reduced charges, identity fraud and falsifying documents. She got 8 months in prison, 2 years probation, and a substantial fine. Jiao Wei called off the wedding. His mother made sure everyone in their social circle knew why. Lynn was publicly shamed, her reputation destroyed. My family blamed me. Mother sent a letter to my workplace, which HR intercepted and didn't give me. She wrote to my landlady trying to get me evicted. The landlady warned me and tore up the letter. She posted on social media about how her cruel daughter had destroyed the family, had put her own sister in prison over a misunderstanding. Several relatives I barely knew sent me angry messages, called me heartless, said I was a disgrace to the family name. I blocked them all. Yang was the only one who tried a different approach. He showed up at my building in July with his wife and baby daughter. We want to talk, he said when I came down to the lobby. No. Jiao Li, please. This has gone on long enough. Lynn made a mistake, yes, but she's paid for it. She's in prison. She's suffering, and Mom is falling apart. You need to apologize and help fix this. I almost laughed. I need to apologize? You sent your own sister to prison. No, Lynn sent herself to prison by committing fraud. I just refused to be her victim. His wife stepped forward, the baby on her hip. Think about family, she said softly. Think about how this is affecting everyone. Your parents are getting older. They shouldn't have to deal with this stress. And what about when we have family gatherings, holidays? You can't avoid us forever. Watch me. You're being selfish, Yang said. His face was red now, angry. You always have been. Everything is always about you, your feelings, your problems, your precious boundaries. Meanwhile, the rest of us are trying to hold this family together. I'm not part of your family, I said simply. Not anymore. You can't just quit being family. Yes, I can. You all proved that family doesn't mean loyalty or love or support. It means obligation and exploitation and guilt. I'm done. Tell Mother I won't be coming to any more family gatherings. Tell her she doesn't have to stress about me anymore because I'm not her daughter. Not in any way that matters. You'll regret this, Yang said. His voice shook. When you're old and alone, when you need help and have no one, you'll regret burning these bridges. I thought about my previous life. Dying alone in a factory dormitory, my body not found for 3 days because no one cared enough to check on me. My family had been alive then. Mother, Lynn, Yang, all alive and healthy. They'd been too busy with their own lives to notice I was gone. I've already been alone, I said. At least now I'm free. I walked away and didn't look back. 6 months later, I got a promotion at work. Manager Feng called me into his office on a Friday afternoon. You've been doing excellent work, he said. Consistently high quality, good attention to detail, and you've taken initiative on several projects. We'd like to promote you to senior accountant. It comes with a raise, 6,000 yuan a month, and more responsibility. I nearly cried. In my previous life, I'd never made it past junior positions, had never earned more than 4,000 a month, had spent decades scraping by, barely surviving. Thank you, I managed. I won't let you down. You haven't so far. He smiled. You start the new role on Monday. Congratulations. That evening, I went to a nice restaurant for the first time in this new life, and ordered whatever I wanted without checking the prices. I ate slowly, savoring each bite, thinking about how far I'd come. My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. "This is Lynn. I was released early for good behavior. I'm sorry for everything. Can we talk?" I deleted it without responding. Another text came a few minutes later. "Please, I've changed. Prison changed me. I understand now what I did was wrong. I want to make amends. Delete. I know you're angry. You have every right to be. But I'm your sister. I'll always be your sister. Doesn't that mean something? Delete. Fine. Be that way. But don't come crying to me when you need help someday. Don't expect any of us to be there for you." I blocked the number and finished my meal. 1 year after my rebirth, I moved into a bigger apartment, still a rental, but nicer. 2 rooms, a proper kitchen, a bathroom with a window. It was in a good neighborhood, close to work, with a park nearby. I could afford it comfortably now with my promotion and raise. I bought real furniture. Not much, I still believed in living simply, but good quality pieces that would last. A proper bed, a desk, a small couch, plants for the windowsill. I made friends at work, went out for drinks with colleagues, started taking a weekend art class at the community center, learned to cook more than instant noodles. I lived. My family tried to contact me a few more times. Mother sent a letter to my old address. It got returned to sender. Yong showed up at my old apartment building, and the landlady told him I'd moved without giving him my new address. Lynn friended me on social media with a new account. I blocked it immediately. Eventually, they seemed to give up, or maybe they just found new people to use. I didn't know and didn't care. I heard through the grapevine, a distant cousin who didn't know we weren't speaking, that Lynn had married someone else. A divorced man with 2 kids, no money, no prospects. Mother had cried at the wedding because it was so beneath Lynn's standards. Yong's second restaurant had failed too. He had moved back in with our parents and was working delivery jobs to pay off his debts. Father had retired and spent his days playing mahjong in the park. They were still a family, I supposed, still together, still dysfunctional, still feeding off each other like parasites. I didn't miss them. 2 years after my rebirth, I met someone. His name was Chen Ming, and he was a software engineer at a company 2 floors down from my office. We met at a building mixer, one of those awkward corporate networking events I normally avoided. But my coworker had dragged me along, and I'd been standing by the snack table trying to look busy when he'd walked up and asked if the spring rolls were any good. "They're terrible," I'd said honestly. He'd laughed. "Thanks for the warning." We'd started talking, just small talk at first. Work, the terrible spring rolls, the awkward mixer. But something about him felt easy, safe, like I could breathe around him. We exchanged numbers, started getting coffee between work hours, then lunch, then dinner. He was kind. Not performatively kind, not looking for something kind, just genuinely kind. He listened when I talked, remembered little details, never pushed when I set boundaries. On our 5th date, he asked about my family. "We're not close," I said carefully. "That's okay. Not everyone is. We're not just not close. We don't speak at all." He waited, not pushing, just present. "They wanted me to commit fraud for them," I said, "to co-sign a loan my sister couldn't afford. When I refused, she forged my signature. I pressed charges. She went to prison. My family blames me." I waited for him to recoil, to make excuses to leave, to tell me I'd been too harsh. Instead, he said, "That must have been really difficult. It was the right thing to do. It can be both." Something in my chest loosened. "You don't think I'm a terrible person? For not letting someone steal your identity and destroy your financial future? No, I think you're brave. My mother says I'm heartless. Your mother was probably upset that her system of exploitation stopped working." He said it matter-of-factly, no judgment. Some families are toxic. Some people use family as a weapon to control others. It sounds like yours did that to you. I'd never heard anyone say it so clearly, so simply, like it was just an observable fact, not a moral failing on my part. "Yeah," I said quietly, "they did. I'm glad you got out." We held hands across the table, and I felt something I'd never felt before in either of my lives: hope. 3 years after my rebirth, Chen Ming proposed. We were at the park near my apartment, sitting on a bench watching the sunset. It wasn't dramatic or elaborate, just him turning to me and saying, I want to spend my life with you. Will you marry me? I said yes before he'd even finished pulling out the ring. We planned a small wedding, just close friends, a few of his family members, and my landlady, who'd been more of a mother to me than my actual mother ever was. No dramatic guest list, no expensive venue, just an intimate ceremony at a garden restaurant. I didn't invite my family. Didn't even tell them. A week before the wedding, Mother found out somehow. She showed up at my apartment building. This time, I went down to meet her. She looked old. When had she gotten so old? Her hair was completely gray now, her face lined with wrinkles I didn't remember. She was thinner too, frail looking. You're getting married, she said. Not a question. Yes. You weren't going to tell us. No. She flinched like I'd hit her. Xiao Li, please. I know we've had our problems, but I'm still your mother. I should be at your wedding. Why? Because I raised you. Because we're family. You keep saying that like it means something, I said tiredly. Like the word family should override everything you did, everything you let happen. I made mistakes. I know I did. But I love you. No, you don't. I said it gently, without anger, just a fact. You love the idea of me, the daughter who does what she's told, who sacrifices for everyone else, who never complains or asks for anything. But that's not me. That was never really me. That's not true. I do love you. I didn't know how to show it. Lin and Yang were always so demanding, and you were so independent, and I thought you didn't need me. I did need you, I interrupted. I needed you to protect me, to value me, to choose me just once. But you never did. Tears ran down her face. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Please, Yaoli, I've lost Lin. She barely speaks to me anymore. Yang is drowning in debt and takes his anger out on me. Your father just sits there like a ghost. I have nothing. Please don't take this away from me, too. I'm not taking anything from you, I said. I was never yours to lose. You gave me up the moment you chose everyone else over me, again and again and again. I'll change. I can be better. I don't want you to change. I don't want anything from you. I just want to live my life in peace. She grabbed my hands. Hers were cold, trembling. Please, just invite me to the wedding. Let me see my daughter get married. Let me be there. I won't cause trouble, I swear. I just want to be part of your life again. I looked at her, really looked at her. At the desperation in her eyes, the fear, the loneliness. Part of me wanted to cave, to say yes, to give her this one thing. But I'd learned that giving them an inch meant they'd take everything. That just this once became one more time, became a lifetime of exploitation. No, I said, and pulled my hands free. You're not invited. None of you are. This is my wedding, my life, my choice. And I choose to be free of you. You'll regret this. Her voice rose, desperate. When I'm dead and gone, you'll regret not making peace with me. Maybe, I said, but I'll regret it less than I'd regret letting you back in. I walked away while she was still crying. Chen Ming was waiting for me upstairs. He didn't ask what happened. He could see it on my face. He just held me while I cried and told me I was brave and reminded me that I deserved to be happy. The wedding was perfect. Small, intimate, full of people who actually loved me. Chen Ming's parents were warm and welcoming, treating me like I was already family. My coworkers came and embarrassed me with a toast about how I was the best accountant in the company. The landlady cried happy tears. No one fought, no one demanded money, no one made it about themselves. It was everything my family gatherings had never been. On our honeymoon, Chen Ming and I went to Hangzhou. We stayed in a little hotel by the lake, ate good food, walked through gardens, and just existed together, peacefully, happily. Do you think about them? He asked one evening as we watched the sunset over the water. My family? Yeah. Sometimes, I admitted. I wonder if I was too harsh, if I should have given them another chance, if cutting them off completely was the right choice. And then I remember what my life was like before, how small I felt, how worthless, how I was just a tool they used until I broke. I leaned against him. I don't want to feel that way ever again. Then you made the right choice. Even if they suffer for it, they're suffering because of their own choices, he said, not yours. You're not responsible for fixing them. You're only responsible for protecting yourself. I kissed him then, grateful beyond words. 4 years after my rebirth, I got another promotion. Senior manager, leading a team of 5 accountants, making 12,000 yuan a month plus bonuses. In my previous life, I'd never made more than 4,000. Never led anyone. Never had my opinion valued. Now I was training new hires, presenting to clients, getting thanked for my expertise. Chen Ming got promoted too, to team lead at his company. We moved into a bigger apartment together, started talking about buying a place of our own. My life was full, not perfect, but full, real. One day, I was at the supermarket when I ran into Lynn. She looked terrible, older than her years, worn down. She was pushing a shopping cart with 2 kids in it. Not hers, I realized. Her stepchildren. They were screaming, grabbing things off shelves. Lynn looked exhausted, and our eyes met across the produce section. For a moment, neither of us moved. Then Lynn looked away and hurried down another aisle. I finished my shopping and went home. That night, Chen Ming asked if I was okay. I saw Lynn today, I said. How do you feel? Nothing. I realized it was true. I felt nothing. No anger, no satisfaction, no guilt, just nothing. She's a stranger to me now. Is that a bad thing? No, I said slowly. I think it means I've finally let go. 5 years after my rebirth, we bought an apartment. Small but ours, a real home. We painted the walls together, picked out furniture together, hung pictures together. Every corner of it was a choice we made as partners, as equals. The day we moved in, I stood in the empty living room and cried. What's wrong? Chen Ming asked, alarmed. Nothing's wrong, I said through my tears. Everything is right. This is mine. Ours. No one can take it. No one can use it against me. It's just ours. He held me while I cried happy tears. A week later, we had a housewarming party. Friends from work, neighbors, Chen Ming's family. The apartment was packed with people who genuinely cared about us. Near the end of the night, Chen Ming's mother pulled me aside. I'm so proud of you, she said. The way you've built this life for yourself. The way you protect your peace. You're stronger than you know. Thank you, I said, and meant it. Chen Ming told us a bit about your family situation. She continued carefully. I want you to know, you're part of our family now, completely, unconditionally. We're here for you, no strings attached. I hugged her and cried again. This was what family should feel like. Safe, supportive, free. 7 years after my rebirth, I got a letter. It came to my office. Someone had tracked down my work address somehow. The envelope had my father's handwriting on it. I almost threw it away without opening it, but curiosity won. Inside was a single page. Zhao Li, your mother had a stroke 2 weeks ago. She's in the hospital. The doctors say she doesn't have much time left. She keeps asking for you, crying for you, calling your name. I know we haven't spoken in years. I know you have your reasons. But she's dying. She's your mother. Please come see her, just once. Let her say goodbye. Please, your father. I read it twice. Felt nothing. Or not nothing. Sadness, maybe. For the mother I'd never had. For the relationship that could have existed but never did. For the waste of it all, but no obligation, no guilt, no urge to go. Chen Ming found me staring at the letter when he came to pick me up from work. What's that? He asked. I handed it to him. He read it silently. What do you want to do? He asked. I don't know. I took the letter back. Part of me thinks I should go. Be the bigger person. Let her say whatever she needs to say. And the other part? Knows it won't change anything. She'll either try to guilt me one more time, or she'll apologize and expect forgiveness. Or she'll pretend the last 7 years didn't happen. None of it will be real. So what does your gut say? I thought about it. Really thought about it. My gut says I don't owe her a deathbed reconciliation, I said slowly. I don't owe her closure. I don't owe her forgiveness. I already gave her 25 years of my life. That's enough. Then don't go. What if I regret it? What if you don't? I smiled despite myself. You're good at this. At what? Reminding me that I get to choose. I threw the letter away. Father sent 2 more letters over the next month, then stopped. Mother died 6 weeks later. I found out through social media, a distant cousin posting condolences. I felt sad, but not guilty. I didn't go to the funeral, didn't send flowers, didn't reach out to my remaining family. I'd said my goodbyes years ago. 10 years after my rebirth, Chen Ming and I had a daughter. We named her An An, peace. She was perfect, tiny and loud and ours, completely, wonderfully ours. Holding her in the hospital, looking down at her sleeping face, I made a promise. She would never feel the way I had felt, would never be used or exploited or made to feel worthless, would never question whether her parents loved her. She would grow up knowing she was valued, protected, enough, exactly as she was. What are you thinking? Chen Ming asked, watching us. That I'm going to be a better mother than mine was, I said. That I'm going to break the cycle. You already have, he said softly. 12 years after my rebirth, I was sitting in a cafe with my daughter when someone approached our table. I looked up to find Yang standing there. He was gray now, bent with age and stress. He looked like he'd aged 20 years instead of 12. Xiao Li, he said. His voice shook. Can we talk? And An looked between us, confused. She didn't know about my old family. She knew I'd had a falling out with my birth family years ago, but I'd never gone into detail. Had never wanted to poison her childhood with that toxicity. No, I said simply. Please, just 5 minutes. I need to explain. You have nothing I want to hear. It's about Lynn. She's sick, cancer, stage 4. She doesn't have long and she wants to see you. No. Xiao Li, please, she's dying. She's your sister. And An's hand found mine under the table, squeezing, supporting me. I had a sister once, I said calmly, but she died the day she forged my signature and tried to destroy my life. I buried her years ago. Whoever this Lynn is, she's a stranger to me. How can you be so cruel? Yang's voice broke. So heartless. She's family. She stopped being family when she chose her own interest over mine, when you all did. We made mistakes. We know that now, but we're still your family. No, you're people I used to know. People who hurt me repeatedly and expected me to smile and take it. But I'm not that person anymore. Please, he begged, just see her. Just let her apologize. Let her have some peace before she dies. I looked at him, really looked at him. At the desperation in his eyes, the fear. He wasn't here for Lynn. He was here for himself. Because if I refused, if I stayed strong, it meant he had to face what they'd done, had to accept that their actions had consequences. Tell Lynn I hope she finds peace, I said. But she won't find it from me. I'm not her absolution. You'll regret this, Yang said. His voice turned harsh, bitter. When you're alone and old and have no family left, you'll regret being so stubborn and proud. I smiled and gestured to An beside me, to the wedding ring on my finger, to the happy life I'd built. I'm not alone. I have a real family now, one that actually loves me, one I chose. You should try it sometime, choosing people who actually care about you instead of clinging to people who use you. And An squeezed my hand again, pride shining in her eyes. Yang stared at us for a long moment, then turned and left without another word. Was that really your brother? An asked quietly. Biologically, yes. In every way that matters, no. I'm proud of you, Mama. I kissed the top of her head. Thank you, baby. 15 years after my rebirth, I was promoted to Director of Accounting at Wang & Associates. I was 40 years old, making 30,000 yuan a month, leading a department of 23 people, respected in my field. In my previous life, I'd been dead for 3 years by this point. Instead, I was thriving, living, happy. Chen Ming and I celebrated my promotion at the same restaurant where he'd proposed. And An stayed with his parents for the night, giving us a rare evening alone. Do you ever miss them? Chen Ming asked over wine. Your birth family? I thought about it honestly. Sometimes I miss the idea of them. the family they could have been. But the reality? No. I don't miss the reality. No regrets? About cutting them off? No. About not going to see Lynn or my mother before they died? Sometimes. Not because I think I should have, but because I was raised to believe that family is everything and you forgive blood no matter what. It's hard to shake that programming completely. But you did shake it. Most of it. I smiled. The part that matters. Good. He raised his glass. To you. To choosing yourself. To building something real. To second chances, I said, and clinked my glass against his. Because that's what this had been, a second chance at life, at happiness, at being valued. And I'd taken it. 20 years after my rebirth, I stood at the edge of a park and watched an Anne graduate from university. She was 20, brilliant, heading to graduate school for architecture. She'd grown up confident and loved, never doubting her worth, never feeling like she had to sacrifice herself to be valued. The cycle was broken. Chen Ming's arm was around my waist. His parents sat beside us, beaming. Friends and colleagues filled the seats around us. This was my family, the one I'd chosen, the one I'd built, and it was enough. More than enough. Perfect. As an An crossed the stage to accept her diploma, I thought about the woman I'd been in my previous life. The one who'd died alone, broken, used up. The one who'd never known she deserved better. I wished I could tell her it was going to be okay, that she'd get another chance, that she'd find the strength to choose herself. But in a way, I already had. By living this life fully, by refusing to repeat the same mistakes, by building something beautiful from the ashes of what had been. My phone buzzed in my pocket. I ignored it, probably work. But later, when I checked, I saw it was a message from an unknown number. This is Yang. Lynn died this morning. The funeral is Friday. I thought you should know. I stared at the message for a long moment. Then I deleted it and put my phone away. Lynn had made her choices. I'd made mine, and I was finally truly free.